Still surprising. This is Audio Heads, a product of Geeks Assembled, and I am your host, Susan, and with me is Lee, and he's the host for the rest of the weekend, and we are talking the Indiana Jones fan uh, production of The Well of Life, and it was really good. Um,
Mhm.
I had little trouble with any of the voicings, and the story kept nipping along at a happy pace, and um, there was romance and danger, fun. It went all over the place, and so yeah, and they were looking for the Fountain of Youth. Uh, and so, just like to know what Lee thought of Well of Life, please.
Well, what was it? It was at 1 hour and 45 minutes, I think it was, um, which roughly is round about the length of a movie these days.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree with you. There were certain voices where you thought, yeah, they've got the actual played Indiana. You got the hint of Harrison Ford.
Uh-huh.
Um, Also the guy who played his father. You got a hint of Sean Connery.
Oh, that
Um,
more than a hit.
and there was a lot of comments of things gone by, like the Ark and the Temple of the Temple of Doom and stuff like that. So they were giving a nod to the past. I mean, this story was made in 2007, a year before Crystal Skull was made. So there is a bit of, because you've got Marion in this.
And she shows up in Crystal Skull.
First up in Crystal Skull, not seen him for years. But this isn't really connected to any of that. This is just a fan production. Got nothing to do with Lucas Films or Spielberg. Um,
You could fit it. You can slot it in. I mean, it's not. It's like Big Finish. It slots
yeah, oh yeah, yeah,
before the many years have gone by again.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and say they were looking for the Fountain of Youth, with this map they got at the beginning of the story, which turned out it was a fake, of course. Um, so it was all, they were going all over. And we had some Nazis,
Yep.
but in my opinion, not enough. Not enough Nazis or Russians, like we did in the Crystal Skull. Nazis or Russians, we'll do that. Yeah, it was an adventure. But for me personally, it was lacking two things. Apart from not enough Nazis, it was lacking two things in this. And do you know what that is?
Do tell.
Um, Action. There was a lot of talking. Um, I mean, you watch an Indiana Jones movie, it's action all the way through, isn't
Yeah.
it? There was a lot of talking in this, and also humor, comedy. There was not a lot of that in this.
No.
You you'd have thought having the characters of his father, Marcus Brody, um, Shala, all from the original movies in this, which some of these are comedy elements in the movies. The character, them characters are used for humor.
Yeah.
There was not much humor in this. Um, this was more of a serious um, archaeological expedition sort of thing.
Sort of. Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. I mean, now let me get this right. The Fountain of Youth is what does that give you?
If you drink it, uh, if you drink it a lot, it will give you eternal life.
Right. So it doesn't rejuvenate you. It doesn't keep you young. It
It
just
does,
gives you
it
right.
does keep you young.
Keeps you young. So what did the Holy Grail do?
The Holy Grail gave you extended life.
Not more immortality.
No, I mean like that knight was close to death.
Yeah, right. I'm getting them. I was just thinking, really, they're doing the same thing.
No, um, except for the Bible part of the Holy Grail,
Mm.
that they're borrowing some psalm that says that out of your belly will spring rivers of living water. Other than that, um, you've got uh, the the healing power and all of that stuff is wrapped up in Christ. It isn't wrapped up in the actual water. It's like
Right.
part of Jesus. It's not part of the water. In the case of the one that Pizarro or whoever was looking for, um, that has to do with you know just the water itself, the rock in the water in combination form a fountain that
Yeah.
will give you your youth back and your
I,
and
I mean, that was as well the fountain of youth in this drama. They were all quite disappointed because they always expected a fountain bubbling away. Oh, I was expecting it to be bubbling away. But yeah, for me, I mean, it was a good story. I mean, it was across the countries. It started off in Paris, I think it was, in Club Solo.
yeah.
So we had a bit of action there. And then, as I say, it was just like a chase to get to get the map and get to the fountain before someone else did. Um, yeah, it was an enjoyable 1 hour 45 minutes. But so they're my only sort of two little niggles with it.
Yep.
So back to you, Susan.
Yeah, so um some of the fun bits for me, all right, well, actually, let me just do some thoughts about it. First of all, I really liked the uh the fact that it was the well of life, the fountain of youth. um and then they mentioned the Ark of the Covenant, they mentioned the Chacho Poyan fertility idol and the Sankara stones and the Holy Grail. So they mentioned even one piece that was that was the idol that was first got in Raiders. Yeah,
And then also as well at the end of this, well, I mean, there's been many books, novels, fan fiction stuff about Indiana Jones, and there were certain things at the end of this what was mentioned. Atlantis. There was another one as well, but all stories what has been written.
yeah,
So they were getting putting stuff into this what fans know about.
right. Yeah, they definitely like covered that, and then the fact that they had um, the Nazi character of uh, Gita and stuff, and she was a friend of the woman who was in Last Crusade,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
so
yeah. That was mentioned towards the end, and on this what was it? How does that name ring a bell?
Uh, yeah, no question. Like, no question that that the two Jones, the father son team of the Joneses, were being played again for all over again. That was quite, yeah, quite interesting, and the fact that they, yeah, anyway, and then the romance between uh, Elam and Antoine. Oh, what what a tragedy, you know.
Mm.
Um, yeah, and, and Antoine and Tony died a terrible death and noble sacrifice, but also really, really terrible. Not like face melt terrible, but
Yeah, I was waiting for some death to happen in this. Um, you got to say you got Tony, and then you got, well, before that, was it Heinrich?
Heinrich died too. Yeah.
Spear in his chest.
Yep.
Well, Marion knows how to wield a spear.
So good. And and the soundtrack was right out of the movies. It was, perfectly well timed with some incidental music that was right out of the movies too. It was beautiful, and the story was great. Um, yeah, the chase into Cancun and then over to um, what was it, Cuba, and yeah, that was amazing, and and before that they were at the Great Bazaar in Istanbul, which I've been to twice now, and I really it captured that really really well, and
Yeah, I can't fault the soundscapes, but the soundtracks, the
no,
acting. Yeah, as I said, I just wish there was a bit more humour in it. I I did like the idea of splitting them up.
yeah,
Henry Senior, Jones Senior, and Marcus Brody going together, and not being best of mates at that time.
no, they weren't. They were like there was a lot of animosity there.
I enjoyed all that,
Yeah,
and I did like the little joke at the end about the guide pinching some of the water.
yeah. Fidel Castro.
Fidel Castro, and he did have a long life.
Yeah, he did. And so yeah, uh, I liked. Yeah, I liked the intrigue in the bazaar. I liked the jungle, especially the Mexican jungle. That was a that was really it was a fun part. And then so, what were your favorite moments?
Well, to begin with, the beginning in Club Solar I enjoyed, where they were escaping through the stage of the was it like a burlesque cinema at the theatre, through the exit through there, and then he he shoves Marion out on her own in front of some Nazis. Because shoves her out and she's sort of yeah. What's it?
I'm
Do you
like,
want to dance? Do you want me to dance for you?
oh, dancing. Yeah, that's right. That was great.
That little scene there was good at the beginning because then you got the gist of the characters. Okay, the character who played the actress who played Marion didn't really sound like Marion in the movies, but if you've got the actor playing Indy, who was very similar in voice, I wouldn't say identical, but you did get the gist of the Indiana Jones voice. You can't really go wrong.
Right.
Um, some some other points ones I did like the scene with Henry Senior, Henry Senior, just talking to Marion on the porch of his house.
Yeah.
That was just a really nice little scene. There was just them two there, um, talking about Indy, and she was the best thing for him and all like that. And nice little scene, and also the scene with Indy Senior again and Marcus, where the captive the tied together, the captive in the jungle,
Yeah.
the thinking they're going to get eaten,
Yes.
and then say it was they were rescued. But it was, I did like the way those two characters, Brody and Senior, were worlds apart at the beginning of the drama, and they were thrown together, and they all they came together,
And
and
they worked out some of their
yeah, their
stuff.
problem. Yeah.
So there wasn't like, there were story arcs, character. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that too.
So yeah, there's some of the few things I liked. It was just it was very it drew you in, and you felt like you were in the world of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Agreed. And I also thought the end was funny with them baking all the instruction sheet for the well into little clay figurines and then sticking them in the fire overnight
Yeah,
and then taking the water and the stones and putting that in barrels and stuff and taking it, what was it, to France.
I think yeah, it was France, wasn't it?
Yeah, so back to France. And
Mm.
so yeah, that was cool and ingenious and um, you could tell that they really did try to write the romance
Mm.
in for Marion and Indy, like the scene that you mentioned on the porch, and then there was also a few scenes like scattered through that were like um, you know talking about love and the awkwardness of Indy,
Mm.
talk about it, and that was just fun.
I don't, you know that do you no, knowing the character of Marion, do you think she would have sold a bar and just up sticks and left Nepal? Because she's one tough cookie.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if she would have sold a bar and
No, and it may the question was where would she get all the booze that she liked.
yeah. Mm.
That I know a few alcoholic bar keeps, whatever, and they don't like going too far from home. You know.
Yeah. But if I suppose they had to do it, I suppose if they wanted the love, the romance thing to work in this drama,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. True.
they had to give a backstory of why she was there in Paris, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was enjoyable. But as I say, should have had more Nazis.
More Nazis
More Nazis or more Russian. Well, actually, it would have been Russian.
more actions.
A bit more, yeah, a bit more fisticuffs and
Yeah.
car chases.
And
Well,
swinging around by the whip and stuff like that.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
You see, an audio like this has got a lot to live up to.
It's true.
We're judging this audio from the movies.
From visual,
Yeah,
but
and
actually we do that a lot.
yeah,
In in the judgment of audios for things like Doctor Who and other franchises that have I mean Blake Seven we've done and so we've actually talked about some of this like how we expect it to live up to a certain thing and if there have been recasts or things like that it challenges us.
I do like a good challenge, audio wise. I do. But as I say, we're visualizing what we know off the screen, but
Right.
only by audio. Different actors playing the same characters we know and love. Um, Sometimes it can be difficult because some people come into something like this, listening to this audio, and they won't be able to see Indiana Jones, anybody else playing Indiana Jones apart from Harrison. But I was Googling this when we found out we was doing this. What's his name? The actual player's Indiana Jones in this. It's behind your head. His name's behind your head. Jerry Scullion. Apparently, I think he's the 15th actor to play Indiana Jones.
Oh, really?
So there must be audio and stuff like that. But I'm positive it said 15th.
Well, there was the two kids.
Oh yeah, the River Phoenix as well. Yeah, and Patrick in the Young Indiana Jones TV series. What's his name? Patrick.
I don't know.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Flannery. Yeah.
But yeah, it was an intriguing listen.
Yep. So did you want to like rate it and score it and give our final say?
Yeah, can do. As we just said, I like a good challenge of audios, and this is why we do quite a lot of different types of audio. We don't stick to one; we vary it. And if you want to be challenged listening to an audio, listen to this: Indiana Jones and the Well of Life. Put aside everything you know about the movies. If you still love Indiana Jones, go for it and give it a listen. Have an open mind, be challenged. It's a good tale from beginning to end. As I said, for me personally, I would have liked more humour in it because that's what we're used to in the films. You see what I'm saying? And more action. And I know it's difficult because Nicholas Briggs, who does Big Finish, has always said, and some of the other producers in Big Finish have always said, action scenes in audio is quite difficult to do.
Yeah, no kidding.
So maybe this is why there wasn't as much action, but there is some, but not as much as you do get in a movie. So apart from that, I enjoyed it. Oh, what shall I give it? I'm going to give it 8.5 whip cracks out of 10.
Yeah, that was great. And I and the fact that it had some of the great characters, Salah, Brody,
Yeah.
and Marion.
All it was missing was Short Round.
Dr. Jones, yeah, Dr. Jones
Dr.
Senior.
Jones.
Um, and obviously the actor who played um, Henry Jones Senior was a scholar of Sean Connery.
Mr. Connery.
Yeah, really like he really dug in and got that right on all the conversations. It was great. So yeah, for all of those reasons and the fact that they had rescued it by the end and that they were that there was the talk of all the talk of the bookwork of archaeology, which was fun because it never happens with the. I mean, they don't actually do much scholarly study, and they don't carefully dig things up. They sort
Oh
of
no.
they sort of like push open doors and just all hell breaks loose.
Use a bit of dynamite.
Yeah,
That'll get him.
yeah. So I enjoyed the part. I so enjoyed the Istanbul and then the jungle, the Mexican jungle part. And I just think that they did this really well. And so I'll
Really well produced.
yeah I'll give this an 8. I'll give this 8 uh, little glasses of special water from Remarkable Stones out of 10.
Cool.
It wasn't bubbling, but
Yeah, it wasn't a bubbling fountain.
no. So it was a well. Well,
Mm.
what a deep subject that is. Okay, so even if the audios we don't review don't have quite enough humor, we'll try and inject our podcast with quite enough humor. And
Yeah, well, see, sometimes it's very hard to judge for the people who make these dramas to how much to put into these.
yep,
They could put more humor in it, then it could be too much humor.
yeah, it could
You
be
know
like
what I
a
mean?
farce.
It, you can't please everybody out. It's one of
That's
those
true.
things, isn't it? So, but it's an enjoyable tale.
Yeah,
If you've got a spare 1 hour 45 minutes,
and it's available on YouTube, and
yeah,
that was an enjoyable way of listening to it as well because you kept this image um, of the one behind my head in front of you the whole time. So that was fun.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so thank you for watching our podcast. Please ask Lee to join us if you would, and thanks for the subscription to our channel. And I know that we're getting a few more subscriptions here and there, which is great. And
Yeah.
we thank you for watching, and we thank you for liking our podcast or disliking it. Just make some comment. Just
Yeah.
yeah, interact and if you would like to, with your subscription, get notification, hit the bell, and
Wait, where?
we will it will notify you every time that we bounce up with something. And this whole weekend is our Indiana Jones weekend. We're doing Last Crusade and Crystal Skull,
Yay.
and it's just in preparation for the release of Indiana Jones.
Um, Indiana Jones and whatever it's called.
I know, right? We don't even have a name yet.
Well, we do know it's going back. It's not set in the 1950s
Right.
because we've got Nazis.
Yep. That's
So it must be in the 40s. It must be in the 40s.
yeah, and you are and you'll have enough Nazis in this one then probably.
Yeah, yeah. if not, I would have been quite happy with more Russians as well. Yeah,
Yeah, I like the Russians one too.
yeah,
Yeah. So yeah, don't be like Brody. Don't get lost. Just come help us and join us on our podcast. And thanks for watching. And uh, you know, do 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 do.
right. That's the right tune. I thought you were doing Superman then, but go on.
Okay.
We've lost some subs now.